Hey everyone, this is Jen. We're gonna do a BPD short. Today, I wanna share with you a phrase that you've probably heard a lot, which is respond, don't react. Respond, don't react. And especially if you have emotional ability or you have a tendency to speak before you think, or the first idea that comes into your head you go with and you don't take time to consider it. That's what I think a lot of people would characterize as reacting. Where responding is a thoughtful consideration of alternatives. Perhaps it's a time that you stop and do a dear man. There's all kinds of different ways that you can take time out to respond. So responding, you can think of it as taking more time, where reacting is boom, in the moment. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes you have to react very quickly. Not everything is appropriate. The situation does not always lend itself appropriately to everything being a respond, Hello, kitty. For instance, we're gonna do the cat butt in my video. Is that what we're gonna do right now? Girl, this is a BPD short. What you doing now? Anyway, wow, thank you. X-rated. So, when you're in a car accident, come here. We cannot do this. Come here, you. Come here. Yes, look out the window. When you're in a car accident, for instance, right? You don't think about all of the different types of ways in which you can or cannot respond. You just react, right? You break out the window, you take off your seatbelt, you check for safety, you check if you're on fire, you call 911. That's all very instantaneous, right? So there are appropriate times for reacting. Now, sometimes, however, there is an alternate solution. So there's respond, there's react. What about don't respond? What about don't react? When are those situations appropriate? Especially if you take insults very personally, or if you are still taking everything very personally, right? That's a cognitive distortion, personalization. Or perhaps you tend to act on your mind reading, right? There may be certain triggers where, I've got a couple of clients right now, and one of them was very rude to me yesterday. In fact, it shook me up. I had nightmares about it. And she called me on the phone and she's like, this text conversation really escalated. And I was like, well, you started it. I didn't start any of this. And in that moment, the way that she and I were interacting was very tense. And that was definitely for me more of a reaction. And a reaction because the annoyance with her had been building. Now, at some point during that conversation, I was able to do my effective communication, right? Like I captured what I was hearing from her, even though she wasn't hearing me. I said, it sounds like you're very annoyed because of this and this, and that's upsetting you, right? So I acknowledged her, I validated her. I didn't agree with her because I don't agree with her. Validation, remember, is not agreeing necessarily. You're just acknowledging. So today, I have a client, and she's a new client, and I had a meet and greet with them a few days ago, and there's just no two ways about it. She is super abusive to her husband. She yelled at him when I was there. She criticized him. Her method of seeming to connect or joke seems to be very much tied to being nasty. And this is a type of humor that I actually used to engage in. And make no mistakes, look at that cattail. Get that tail. Get it. Make no mistakes that sarcasm is a very hurtful and destructive type of humor. It can be. And sarcasm, the Latin meaning of the root of sarcasm, is to tear the flesh. So it literally means that it's so hurtful that it tears people apart. And so just over the course of 3 hours of meeting with her and her husband, he even admitted, like, oh yeah, she treats me like I'm stupid. And so, when I cued into this, I thought, okay, well, if she is willing to be this abusive and nasty to this guy that I don't know, and she doesn't know me in front of me, what does she do behind closed doors? And more importantly, how will she treat me? So this is not a client that I'm going to have a very frequent interaction with. Like this will be like, every couple of months or every, half of a year. So, but on my cue, I thought, okay, this could be a trigger for you, the way that this person talks to you. And so a couple of days ago, I was supposed to see the dogs, and then one of the dogs got sick, and so he had to go to the vet. And so today, I just checked in. I was like, hey, how's he doing? She's like, thanks for checking in. Like, they've been really great over the last couple of days, and, they haven't been fighting with each other. And I said, that's really great. I said, give them both a hug for me. And she's like, yeah, they're being really good today. This is how she responded. Yeah, they're being really good today. They probably just didn't like you. Ha ha ha. I will give one of the dogs a hug for you, but the other dog I will kick in the nuts. And I was like, she probably thinks she's being really funny, but I'm like, in fact, even when I was there in the house, I gave the dogs some treats, and then the dogs kept kind of looking to me for more treats. And so I said something like, that's it, boys, like those are the only treats I have. And she said something like, bitch better bring more treats. And I'm like, like that's abusive. And so today when she responded with this message, or like, the dogs probably just didn't like me, I was like, I'm not responding to this. I had a rough night with one client. I don't need to be involved with this. I don't like this tone. I don't like her idea of joking, which it's really not. It's just a very passive aggressive way of being mean to someone. So I didn't respond, and I won't. And now this teaches me a different lesson. I won't react. Okay. I won't respond, but I also won't reach out as much, right? And so if you have to deal with very difficult people or sometimes abusive people at work, right, in a grocery store, whatever the case may be, if you have a choice not to interact with them, then make that choice. But if you have to, you don't have to react or respond. And that is an alternative to respond, don't react. How about just don't respond, don't react? And in doing so, in not responding to her, I felt very much emotionally in control. And also I sent her a message, which is, I'm not going to respond to this, right? My non-communication is still communication. This is not okay with me, and I'm not going to take this. So, and I'm not going to engage in it. I'm not going to go, ha-ha, I'm not going to laugh. I don't want to give her any kind of signs that I think this is funny, because it's not. So it's a win-win, right? I've kept my emotional regulation because I haven't let it spin me up. I haven't reached out. I didn't engage her more. I didn't say something mean to her. And I didn't, more importantly, let it emotionally affect me. Like, I don't think this chick has, whatever she says, this has nothing to do with me. And so, a little kitty tail. Got little kitty tails in there. Ma'am. And so, again, thirdly, I've learned that, okay, I'm just not going to interact with her unless it's absolutely necessary. My name's Jen. You've been watching BPD Woman, and this has been a BPD Woman short. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe. I offer positive-based solution approaches to recovery for those with BPD, CPTSD, or those who are highly sensitive. Until I see you next time, please be effective. Bye-bye.